Good morning, students. Today we are going to see the chapter number 1, that is graphs and economics. Now in this, the following points we are going to see. The first one is the meaning of a diagram and a graph. In that we'll see the importance of diagram and graph and the aspects to be considered while drawing a diagram. Then we're going to see the types of diagram, and then after the types of diagram, the various types of diagram, that is a time base is there, bar is there. In that types of bar diagrams are there simple, clustered and divided one. Now then after that, aspects to be considered whenever we are drawing the bar diagram, then pie diagram. So these are the types of diagram we are going to see. Then the types of graphs we are going to see, that is the time series graph. And the last topic is use of the technology in the study of the economics. In that, computer technology, internet technology and data study. So these are the various points we are going to see in this chapter number 1, that is the graph in the economics. Now students, we see with the first thing, that is the introduction of the chapter number 1. Economics explain and analyzes various economics in the real world taking place. So this is your first point you will remember. Second, in that it is written as various information shared by the various department become difficult to understand, but it can draw attention when it is presented with the help of following two types of figures or pictures. We can say it is the diagrams and the graphs. Now in this we can say it as there are numerous informations, data are available. Now if it is drawn in a diagram and graphs, so it will be easier for the readers to understand that particular thing, we can say. So if it is drawn by the way of diagram and graph, so it is quite effectful to understand that particular thing. So this is the 2 point you will remember whenever you are writing the introduction of this chapter. Now after the introduction we'll see the topic, that is the diagram. Now you can see the 5 points on your screen, students. In the first one, that is a diagram is a representation of the observable data by the way of pictures. Scales and measurements are used while drawing a diagram. So whatever the data are available to us, if it is drawn by the way of picture, the representation is done by the way of picture, then we can say it as a diagram. And the scale and measurement should be used whenever we are drawing a particular diagram. That should be taken into consideration. Then only your figure, whatever picture you are drawing, it should be in a exact measurement. Okay, so scale and measurement should be used properly. Then we can say knowledge of statistic is not required in this diagram specifically, but as and when we'll do the graph one, in that statistical knowledge is required whenever you are drawing the graph, but in diagram the statistical knowledge is not required. Then third point, a diagram is drawn for the data which are presented in the discrete, that is a discontinuous frequency distribution. If it is a discontinuous frequency distribution is there, then you will draw the diagram. And in the graph we will study, then it is a continuous frequency distribution is then you will draw the graph. As and when we'll go on that topic, that is on a graph, we'll see that points only. Okay, so in this diagram, if there is a discontinuous frequency, then you will draw the diagram. Then fourth point, a diagram is drawn which is self-explanatory and persons do not require detailed knowledge of statistics to draw or understand a diagram. So what we have seen in the second point, that knowledge of statistics is not required. The diagram is self-explanatory, so readers can understand it by their own. The statistical knowledge in this diagram, whenever we are drawing, it is not at all required. The last point, that is this is used by the advertising company to draw the attention by the government, to provide the information, we can say, and by the social organization to spread the awareness. Okay, so who is using, then you will who is using the diagram for what purposes, then we can say it like advertising company, government is using, and social organization like NGOs for spreading of the spreading the awareness, they are using the diagrams, so that can be easily understood to the readers, we can say it as. So this is what you will write in the diagram, students. Now we'll go to the topic of the graph. Now in this graph there are 4 points what you will write is the first one, a graph is also representation of the observable data by the way of picture. In the diagram also you will write the same thing, observable data by the way of picture, which is represented in graph and diagram both. But a graph is a statistical information which is not self-explanatory. In this, the statistical knowledge must be needed whenever you are drawing the graph. So it is not the self-explanatory, we can say it as, that cannot be easily understood by the readers, we can say, because there are number of data are available, and to show that it must be calculated in a statistical way properly. Second, a graph is drawn for data with the continuous frequency distribution. In the diagram we have seen that whenever there is a discontinuous one, then you will draw the diagram, and whenever there is a continuous frequency distribution, you will draw the graph. The third point, you can see that a graph is also drawn for the other types of complex statistical information. That what I have said, there are numerous data and there are quite complex, we can say it as. Knowledge of statistical is essential to draw and understand a graph. So statistical knowledge is must, and it is quite essential whenever we are drawing the graph. A graph cannot be drawn without taking the appropriate measurements. So it must be drawn with the proper scale, and measurement should also be appropriate whenever we are drawing the graph. Last, a graph is generally used by the researchers and the educationalists. So this can also be asked for the 1 mark. Who is using the graph? Then you must write the researchers and the educationalists. So whenever the researchers want to show any of the information or data, we can say, so they can able to prepare the graph and make it more effective, efficient, we can say, so they can attract the reader's mind and they can easily understood that thing. Okay, so it is used by the researchers and the educationalists also. So this is the point what we have seen in the graph. Now the another page you can see, that is discrete versus continuous frequency distribution. Students, this is just an as a example we can take it as. It is also mentioned in your textbook also, and you all know as you have already done this thing in your statistics. So example of data with the discrete continuous frequency distribution, the first table you can see in 1.1, that is prices given in rupees 1, 2, 5, 7 and 10, and in demand you can say 100, 80, 70, 20, 10. So accordingly you can see in the price there is 1, 2 and then it is 5, not 3. So it is a discontinuous frequency what we can say it as. And the example of the data with the continuous frequency distribution you can see in the table 1.2 and 1.3. Income class is given and the number of people frequency is given. In income class you can see it is 10, 20, 20, 30,000 and 30,000 and 40,000. So accordingly it is in the continuous frequency. There is no gapping, we can say. There is one whether firstly it is there 10, 20 and then after it is 40, 60. It is not said. It is in a continuous way. Then we can say it as a continuous frequency distribution, and whenever you are drawing the graph you will see there is a continuous frequency distribution. And in table 1.3 also similar thing. Classes of the marks is given 10, 19, 20, 29, 30, 39 and the number of student frequency is given. Okay, so these are the table. Whenever you are writing related to the continuous one and the discontinuous one, you can able to draw this tables. Okay. Now after that we will see that is the importance of the diagrams and graphs in the economy. So accordingly there are total 5 points that what you will write. This is also important, students, for your 2 marks question. Now in this first one will be the simple presentation, what we can say it as. The study related with the subject economics becomes easy by the way of diagrams and less confusing by the way of graphs. So it makes easier, and confusion also what we can say it as is lessen out because of the it is represented by the way of diagrams and graphs. So we can term it as a simple presentation is your first point. Second point you can term as a economic trend information. Now in that what you can see on your screen, that trends of various economic parameters over various years can be observed through a single diagram or the graph, we can say. So whenever we can take it as an example, like during the implementation of various policies in India, change in the national income growth rate and the per capita income growth rate can be shown in this graphical form very much easily. So in short we can say trends of the various years can be seen in this single graphs or the diagram. So that what you will write in the economic trend information. Then the third one we can say it as to understand the changes of the various sector. So third it is like changes made in the various sector of the economy can be easily understood. You can say it as the public sector, private sector, or agriculture, industry, or service sector. We can say it as, so whatever changes arises in such sectors, so we can easily understood by this, by the way of graphs and diagram. Fourth point, to make the comparison. What you will write as the main point, that is to make the comparison. A comparison can be easily drawn for the distribution of some economic parameters between the groups. We can say, so you can write as male, female, you can say it as regions wise, that is the area wise, or the sector wise, as well as according to the time period. So you can able to show or make the comparison accordingly. Now if we take an example like to find the percentage of the poverty and unemployment in the urban and rural areas both, it can be represented by the bar diagram, that is the or the pie diagram. Now with the help of this, given variable can be understood and we can able to make the comparison very much easily. Okay, so this is what your fourth point is, to make the comparison. Fifth point, you can write it as time and energy can be saved. So how the time and energy can be saved? The time and effort of the presenter in explaining and of the reader in understanding this aspects is saved. So reader can get easily understand the data, we can say, or information we can say, by the way of diagrams and the graph if it is represented. As the presenter also no need to explain much more, so as and when we can say that time and energy can be saved by the way of diagrams and the graphs. So these are the 5 points what you will write in the importance of the diagram and the graphs in the economics. Now students, after the importance, we'll study the aspects to be considered while drawing a while drawing a diagram or the graph. So before drawing the diagram or the graph, following points what you are seeing on your screen should be kept in the mind. There are total 6 points that what we are going to study in this. This is also quite important for the 3-mark question. So first one we can say it as the choice of the types of diagram or the graph and their representation must be done by you whenever we are drawing. The right type of diagram or graph must be chosen to make a picture more effective. So to make that picture more effective, we have to first choose out which one we are going to draw, whether the diagram one or the graph one. If we take an example, some information can be presented on a bar diagram as well as in the pie diagram. We have to choose which one to select from this. So from that to which one is effective and which one we are going to take, that must be chosen first. If we take another example, that to present the unemployment in the rural and the urban areas, divided bar diagram or the pie diagram is appropriate as and when we can see. Whereas to show the national income, if we want to show the national income, then we'll show the graph would be better one than the diagram. So we are drawing the diagram or the graph, that must be chosen by us first. Then you can see the second point, that is the clarity. Now a picture must look neat and clean. Different colors and shades may be used to denote the various components of a picture. So clarity is must, then only it attracts the mind of the readers. We can say it should be drawn very much neatly whenever we are drawing. So wherever there are divided variables are there, then it should be shaded out in the different colors we can say. One must be in a lining or one must be in a shade. So it makes the clarity, clear picture we can say it as. So this is your second point. Then third we can say it is scale and measures. To make a picture look appropriate in size, scales must be taken in accordance with the data. So scale must be used whenever we are drawing the diagram and the scale, diagram and the graph. So the picture will be appropriate one and with the proper measurement. Okay, so it will look very much clear. So scale and measurements, measures we can say, that is the third point. After that you can see, that is the fourth point on your screen, that representation of the axis is must. Now by both the axes of a diagram or the graph must be denoted, represented with the appropriate details of what they represent. So both the axes are which one? That is the x-axis and the y-axis. Now on the x-axis you will show the independent variable. Mark out the word students. You might make mistake in this and that must be asked in the 1 mark also. That on x-axis what you will write? The independent variable. In that what will come? That is the country you will write, year you can write, or month you can show. Okay, and on the y-axis dependent variable we can able to show, that is like production we can say it as, population, literacy rate, etc. So this can be shown on the y-axis. So representation of the axis must be done very much clearly denoted. Okay. Then fifth one, you can say sources of data or the data table. So by mentioning the source of data, the picture becomes more reliable and authentic. So whenever we are drawing, we can say it as such information should be mentioned by us. The sources of that particular data, the information related to that must be mentioned by us. Okay, the example we can take it as at the time of analysis of the growth rate of the national income of the different countries of the World Bank and economic survey must be mentioned whenever we are drawing the diagram or the graph. Okay, so this is the fifth one. Then you can say it as sixth method of calculating the data. Now use of the statistical formula will make the information more reliable. Okay, so with the proper formula, statistical formula, then we can say it as reliable information is there. Okay, so it should be drawn with the proper formula when the picture, but if when the picture is not drawn from self-explanatory data, but if it is drawn from the data simplified with the statistical formula, at that time if it is calculated with the proper formula, then it will be a appropriate one and the more reliable one. Okay, so this is the sixth one, that is a method of calculating the data. So this is the aspects to be considered whenever we are drawing the diagram or the graph. Now students, the another topic is types of diagram in your first chapter. Now in types of diagram, you can see the following types. There are many types of diagrams like pictogram, scatter diagram, line diagram, that is based on the time periods, circle diagram, bar diagram and the pie diagram. So you can see there are total 6 types of diagrams are there, and it can be asked for the 2 mark to state out the types of diagram. So you need to state out all the 6 points. But as we see for the diagram purpose that it is already written on the red line, you can see, but as per the syllabus you have to study only time based line diagram, bar diagram and the pie diagram. So the total we can see you have to prepare for 5 marks question, that is line diagram, bar diagram and the pie diagram. So accordingly we will see how we will prepare that. The first one we'll take is the line diagram. Now in this, the first one you can see on your screen, that is a time based line diagram. Now the 3 points you need to remember whenever you are drawing the line based time based line diagram. The first one, it shows as picture which shows the shape or the slopes of a relationship in economics between the 2 variables are often drawn. So accordingly, as per the 2 variables, the parameters are given, you have to draw the shape or the slope of that particular variables. Now examples are provided over here, like a demand curve, supply curve. You can able to draw these 2 variables. Size of the population you can able to draw in a different time period accordingly as per the years. Rate of inflations in the different year, here also the same thing. And the literacy rate as per the various years, that also you can able to show with the time based line diagram. Now the last point you can see, that is the independent variable is measured on the x-axis, that we have already done. What you will mention on the x, that is the independent variable. You can mention the country, months, years, etc. And on the dependent variable that you will mention on the y-axis, on that you will write the on that y-axis you will write the population, you can write production, you can write literacy rate, you can write over there. So on the y-axis and the x-axis, be careful, remember this can be asked for the 1 marks, that what you will mention on the x-axis and what you will mention on the y-axis accordingly. Now we'll see the diagram related to the time based. Now you can see the diagram related to this on your screen, that is the decades are mentioned over here, from the years 1951 to 61, 61 to 71 and as accordingly. And decade growth rate of the population is mentioned in the percentage. On the x-axis you will mention the years, that is the independent one, and on the y-axis you will mention the population as we have already done in that particular description. So in this 1951-61 you can see the population percentage is given 21.64. So accordingly you put a dot over there, and it may be in a slope wise. As per the year you will put a dot and just join it out with a scale. So this is how we will do the time based line diagram. Now the another one we'll do is the bar diagram and its types. Now in this bar diagram we can say that this one is important from the last 3 years. It continuously in the board papers it is asked the bar diagram. So you can see the various points, 3 points. A bar diagram shows the distribution of the value of a variable components. It is shown. Now examples are also given. It is the literacy rate of the country in the various years, literacy rate among the male female we can able to show in a particular years. So accordingly, if it is in a one variable there are two sub points are also there, then also you can able to show with the help of the bar diagram. So bar diagram we can say it is generally of 3 types, that is the simple bar diagram, cluster bar diagram and the divided bar diagram. Accordingly we will see all those 3 diagrams. Now this is what you can see on your screen, that is the first one, simple bar diagram. A simple bar diagram represents the value of only one variable over the base. Base is your x is your base and only one variable it is there, then you will draw the simple bar diagram accordingly. So you can see in the table 1.5 the months are given that you will mention on the x-axis and the sale in units are given that you will mention on the y-axis. As shown, that is January, February, you can see the sale in units is 35. So accordingly you will mention that. And students, be careful, the gap or the length or the width we can say it must be equal, there should not be unequal. So do it properly. So this is how you will show accordingly the simple bar diagram as per the month and the sales in unit. When only one variable is given, then you have to do it the simple bar diagram. There are many 2 more are there in this bar diagram that can also be asked and quite important. Now the second one is the cluster bar diagram. As you can see on your screen, in this type of graph, a common variable and over a common base is there are given for more than one section of the relatable parameters. So as you can see on your screen, the sale in units is there. There are more than the one section that you can see the 3 size are given, that is small size, medium size and the large size is given. And as per the month you will draw the diagram accordingly. So the months are there and the sale in units are given, then more than the one sections. So I will show you the diagram related to this is like. So this is how students you will show the cluster bar diagram. The small size, medium and the large one you will show it accordingly. On the x-axis we have written the months and on the y-axis we have already written the sales in units. So accordingly you will see that the small is given in the first one, January to February, the small is given 30, the medium is given the 15 and the large is given the 25. So whenever you are drawing the cluster bar diagram, be careful that you will shade up differently in each and every section. We can say it as that you can see the first one is a black and then horizontal and vertical line you can able to draw. In one you can shade it out darker, in another one lighter, and then you can in one of these you can draw the line also. So this is how you will show this cluster bar diagram. Now you can see students, the third one is a divided bar diagram. Now in such a diagram, every single value of the variables have the subcategories, as you can see in the table 1.7, that in sale in units you can see there is January, February, according to the months it is given, and in that 2 sectors are provided to you, that is the rural and the urban one, and by addition of that you will get the overall Indian number of chocolates sold in this both rural and urban areas. So accordingly, hence we get the division in all the bars which represents a common variable and the common base value. So here also I will show you the divided bar diagram accordingly to this table. So do keep in mind it is shown as per the months and accordingly as per the rural areas and the urban areas. So by addition of this will show the same thing in the particular diagram. So if you are taking of a particular month, that is the January, February, accordingly you will show the one array of bar, that is rural 30 and urban 40. Together you will show. In the rural you will mark it with the dark shade and in the urban marked it with the horizontal or the vertical lines. You can mark it accordingly in this rural and the urban both. This is the diagram of the divided bar. So as what we have seen in that particular table, you will show the same thing in this diagram. That is, the month you will show in the x-axis and the sales in units you will show on the y-axis accordingly. So we have seen the rural and urban both. So accordingly, in the month of January, you can see the rural is 30 and the 40 will be the urban one. So you will mention that only the one bar A you can see on your screen. So accordingly, the total will be the 70 over in all. So in the next one also the same thing. First is rural 35 and then 80 is the urban one. So in this way we'll show the divided bar diagram, and the bar diagram I have already said this one. There's 3 types of diagram you need to prepare very much thoroughly, because any one of this diagram can be asked in your exam for the 5 marks. Okay, so be prepared for this one. Now the another topic will take related to this. The topic is aspects to be considered while drawing a bar diagram. Though you can see the following 5 points. Accordingly, whenever we are drawing the bar diagram, you should keep in mind this 5 points. The first one is the same what I told you earlier. The breadth of the bars does not represent any data, and hence all the bars should be of the equal breadth. Whenever you are drawing, it must be with a proper scale and in a proper unit. The breadth must be equal. The second, you can see the length of the representative bars should be proportional to the value of the variable which they represent. So accordingly, what you are representing or the length of the bar, you can say you must have to be proportionate, that is must be equal to the variables which you are representing. So do keep in mind the second point also. The third point, you can see there is a distance between all the bars should be equal, and that should also be maintained between the first bar and the origin. Whatever the unit you are taking in the first origin, that should be maintained. If you are taking the gap accordingly, then you have to, if you are leaving the 1 unit, then you will leave only 1 unit only. So be careful, it should be maintained in all the bars where you are starting. The fourth one, all the bar rest on the same line called the base line, that is you can say it as a x-axis is your baseline, usually coincide with the x. So this is what the 4 point is. And the fifth one is all vertical bars should be arranged from the left to right in order to the data series. So whenever you are drawing the vertical bar, it will be going to be arranged from the left to the right. So whenever we are drawing the bar diagram, you need to consider this following aspect, that is just 5 points, and do keep in mind, and then you can able to draw the bar diagram very much effectively. And keep in mind that it should be with the use of the scale, then only it can be, we can say, proper. Otherwise with the handmade, it cannot be, the marks cannot be given to you people. So these are the points you will keep in mind whenever you are drawing these diagrams. The another topic is the pie diagram. As you can see on your screen, students, there are total 3 points you will able to write as per the definition of pie diagram. Now first is, you can see, division of a circle in degrees represent a pie diagram. That is, the entire circle represent, we can say, as a 360 degree. Okay. Then second point, if an entire circle is considered as a universal set of an entire data and the different components of these data are represented. So here we can say a set of entire data is available to us. There are different components, item, we can say, as per your textbook it is given book, stationery, phone, computers, other devices, food, clothing, etc. So by dividing the circle in the degrees proportionate to the data, then a pie diagram is obtained. Then as per that data, we'll find out the degree and we'll accordingly put that as per the in a pie diagram. Okay, then we can get the exact one. The last, you can say, as a diagram which is drawn by the representing subdivision of an entire data by proportionate degree in a circle is called a pie diagram. The same thing what we have done in the second one. The items are given to us, then we'll find the according the degrees, and then we'll put in the particular whole circle, the entire data we can say it as. So that can be termed as a pie diagram. As I will show you the pie diagram accordingly to this. So this is the thing you can see on your screen, students. That is, first thing you will remember that degree is equals to component value upon total value into 360. This can be asked for the 1 mark in your exam. Then you can show the 1.8 table accordingly. The items are given book, stationery, phone, computer devices, food, clothes, etc. Percentage of money spent is given. The total amount 100 you can see in the total, that is your total value. And then accordingly you will find out a calculation of degree is done, that is the component value is 20 into 360 will do and total value will be 100. So you will get all the degrees by the help of this 72%, 18%, 108, 108, 54, and total you can see is 360. Okay. As and when if you want to find out the percentage for putting up in your pie diagram, then 72 degree what we have got in the books, 72 into 100 divided by 360, then you will get the 20%. So accordingly you will find out all the percentage and you will be able to do the pie diagram very much efficiently. Okay, so these are the things you will do in the pie diagram. Now another topic is there related to this. So here aspects to be considered while drawing a pie diagram. You need to remember these 5 points whenever you are drawing the pie one. Now first, that is the 360 degree makes a circle. Okay, so according to this only you will calculate all the things. Second, degree for the subdivisions are calculated in proportion to the value of the variables for that division, and the sum total of the degrees of all such subdivision must be 360 degree. That what we have calculated, you have seen that particular table in that book stationery all is given, that how we have calculated, that is that spent money on book is 20 into 360 divided by 100, we get the 72. Accordingly you find out all the degrees and you put complete the whole 360 degree circle. Okay, so this is how you will calculate. Then third point, if relevant data is to be compared across the regions or the time period, then the two pie diagram can be drawn side by side. So area wise if it is given or according to the time period, then you will draw two. Then for a data set with a smaller total value, a circle with the smaller dimension is drawn. As and when the total value is smaller, then the dimension also will be according to that only, and if it is larger, then the dimension will be according to that. Okay, so these are the following points whenever you are drawing a pie you need to be considered. Now the topic is the time series graph. Now firstly student, I need to say that is the types of graphs are there, that is also come for the 2 marks. In that the time series graph is there. In after second is graphs for the continuous frequency distribution. In that there are sub points, that is the histogram, frequency polygon, frequency curve, cumulative frequency polygon, and the last third one, that is the logarithmic graph. So these are the types of graph which can be asked in your exam, just to state out that point, that it for the 2 marks. But as per we see, according to your syllabus, there is only time series graph is there that you need to do. Now that what you can see, that is in a time series graph, in the first one point, in a trade cycle or in the cycle of economic activities, we can say short term, long term is there, irregular changes are observed. So you can, that can be described with the help of the time series graph. So you can draw the graph and show it in that. Then second point, you can see the trends of such changes are obtained with the help of the statistical tools. And as we have already seen that whenever we are drawing the graph, the statistical knowledge is must. And with that changes can be shown by measuring with the proper statistical calculation is done, and then you can able to show it. Then the third point, you can see when the graphs are drawn taking these changes as variables and the time period as the base. The changes that are given to you, that can be done on the y-axis, and the another thing, there is a time period we have seen, that is the month is there, years is there, that will be shown on the base. That base here will be termed as a x-axis. Then such graphs can be termed as a time series graph. So this also can be asked for the 2 mark, and this is only which is included in your syllabus in the various types of graphs. So the types of graphs can only be asked just to state out, but in that the time series is there in your syllabus. Now after that types of graphs, the another point is use of technology in the study of the economics, we can see. So there are different types of digital technology that is frequently used in the study of the economics, we can say, that is quite useful in our daily lives also, that can help us to connect with our friends, relatives, to watch the movies, to listen out the music, to navigate the unknown roads, we can say, to purchase out the goods and orders online also. Now you can able to see, to buy the tickets, you can say, to pay out the various types of bills, we can say. So that can be used in our day-to-day lives. Now you can see over here, it is also important for the education purpose in the economy, that is for the computer technology, you can see, internet technology, and the data study. That 3 points we are going to see briefly as for your economics, what does it term and how it is useful. Now you can see that is the first one is the computer technology. Now in that we are going to see the following points, that is the presentation, Excel worksheet, diagrams and chart, storage tools and the other tools. These are the 5 points we'll take into the consideration whenever you are writing the computer technology. Now you can see in the computer technology, the first point is the presentation. So in that first you can see the complicated economic informations are there and difficult theories of economics can be made easier by expressing in the PowerPoint presentation, that is the PPT. We can able to make the PPT and it can be described very much easily, that what we are doing over here in this pandemic situation, that we are making the PPT and then making the video, so you can able to understand very much easiest. The example is there given, that is the union budget. There are various number of informations are there and that can be highlighted in the various slides and it can be shown to you and it can be easily understand. Okay, so these are the union budget of how it is prepared according to different slides and it can be shown. Now you can see the second point, that is the Excel worksheet. Now in Excel worksheet, the first point you can see economics deal with the lots of data that we all know. Researchers sometimes deal with the thousands of data from the observation. So there are numerous types of data or information are available. Now to make the work easiest, you can see we can help do with the help of sum, total, average, percentage, minimum, maximum, correlation, regression, coefficient, various traits are done. So this is quite effective whenever there are number of data are there, as and when we are preparing your results also at that time also in that Excel worksheet we can able to find out your percentage, total and their grades, so that it keeps our makes our works very much easiest with this Excel worksheet. Okay, so this is the second point in the computer technology. Now the third point is the diagram and the graph. There are simple drawing tools in a Word file which can be used to draw the simple freehand figures like a simple downward sloping or upward sloping demand or the supply curve. So with the help of the computer you can able to draw the diagram and graphs also, as we have already done in a detail that regarding to the diagram and the graphs, but with the help of the computer you can able to do that also. Then fourth point, you can see that the storage tools, all material can be preserved in the computer. That is, hard disk is there, where the pen drive is there, DigiLocker is there, Google Drive, Dropbox. So these are the things we can now able to use on our phone also, mobile phones also. Okay, so these are quite safer. We can see in a computer also we can able to preserve our data or various informations if it is there. Now other tools you can see in the fifth point, that is the statistical programs like SPSS, SISMs, eViews, SAS is there, PSPP is there, Gretel is there. So these are the various softwares are there that can help you to calculate the number of observation if it is there in a minute. So we can say some of these are, that is the SPSS, SISM, eViews there, SAS is there, are developed to do almost all the types of data processing for lakhs of observation which is there in a minute. But you just have to write the proper and the correct formula. Okay, so researchers institute is there by such programs especially. Okay, but these are quite very expensive if we can say. As we talk about certain software like Greeter is there, as PSPP is there, etc. we can say are obtained for the free of cost through the internet, but some are very expensive, that is SPSS and SISM we talk about. So these are, we can say, all we can able to operate on our smartphones and tablets also nowadays. So in fact we can say computer is also very much useful in as per our economics to calculate the various data, as there are number of observations are there and we can make our work very much easiest with the help of the computer. Now the another topic related to the computer technology, that is the question in using the computer technology. So you can see the various questions, that is the first is the computer is an aid in studying but it is not the study material itself. It is helpful to you people but it's not itself a study material, because we can see the computer is also made by the humans only. So accordingly to this we can say it is not the study material itself. Second, you can say it helps in the process of studying easier and faster, but it does not replace the process of study. It makes our work easier and the faster. But then too, if we say that it can't replace the teacher, that how teacher is explaining, that computer cannot, we can say it like. Okay, so this is how. Second is, third, if we don't use the right command in computer, we may lose and end up with all the materials. If we are not using the proper function keys are there, commands are there, then you can see may lose all the data information which we have already stored in the computer. Then the last, we may also end up with getting incorrect graphs and data processing if we do not know the correct formulas and command. If we are didn't have the proper knowledge to how to use, or we are not knowing the proper formulas and the commands, you can say the graph you are drawing or the data you are saying that it may be obtained incorrect one. Okay, so it must be used the correct formulas whenever you are using the computer. So this is the topic related to the computer. Now we'll go to the internet technology. Now the second topic is that of the internet technology. In that first you can see that is the purpose are given, manners in which internet helps. Now the first is tutorials. We can say that some educational websites puts PowerPoint presentation, that is a PPT, and study material along with the worksheet on the open access links. So we can view such presentation as a tutorial. So you can see various types on the YouTubes also the tutorials are uploaded. So you can get the various information, or you can anything learn from that informations. Okay, so various YouTube tutorials are also uploaded. Then active learning, you can see the some videos of the lectures by experts are put on the open access sites by some educational institutions. So some institutions create the live lectures available to the students. So we can see that the various lectures are there that can be uploaded, that can be, we can say that the PPTs we can say, or the various videos are uploaded, that in this pandemic situation what we are doing the same thing, we are uploading the videos you can see, or we are giving the live lectures through the Zoom or with the Vidhyabhava app we can see. So we can register on this side and we can listen to a lecture on the net like we do in our classroom. That's what you are seeing they are doing in your classroom. Now we are doing as per with the help of the internet technology. Example lectures by experts are available in economics and other subjects. So all the various subjects also you can able to with the help of the internet you can able to learn it out and get the various informations. Then reading materials are also available on the internet, that is the numerous books are available online free cost for reading. Some are the free, or some are the articles are there, copies of the journals are there available also for the reading, but some are you need to pay the price, that is what annual fees you need to pay for some of the articles is there, books is there on the particular website we can say it as. So this material are called the e-books we can say, or e-journals also you can say. It can be available for the free, or some are the paid one also, and then you need to pay for the whole year, then you can able to use that particular articles and can read out that. So these are the first three, then three more are there. So you can see the fourth one, that is the informations. By merely searching we can get the information on the university offering degrees in the economics or any other information about any subjects. So whatever if you want to find out related the universities there, colleges are there, schools are there, so you can able to find out or get the various information related to the any subjects are there if you are having any doubts. So this all the information data you can able to get it from the internet. So what the current rate is there, what the current GDP rate is there, price of the various particular products we can say. So we all can get the information from the internet. Fifth one, miscellaneous. So we can get the codes by the economics, name of the reference books are there from the internet by the search engine we can say. So various numbers of codes are there. If you want to find out any of the birthday codes are there, various codes, or related to the any of the economics you want to find out, or the various reference book for your economic subject we can say, that you can get many of the from the internet. Now the last topic, that is the data. This is the important one because it includes the various full forms you can see. So in that you can see first thing, that is economic uses a lot of secondary data. For instance, we use data on a budget of the government is there, banking, agriculture, production. Student, these all are the data, that is the information we can say. Be careful. Firstly is the budget, second banking, agriculture, production, value of the export and import it is said, poverty related is there, employment is there, industrial production and many others. So these data can be accessed from the authentic website. Mark the word authentic website. Okay, so you can get from the official website, then only it can be correct information. Then you can see, for examples, authentic sites for the data on banking in India is the official website of the Reserve Bank of India is there. So from that RBI official website you can find the various information related to the bank. For the import export is there, is the website of Ministry of Commerce is available to you. And industries of the Government of India, budget related information from Ministry of Finance you will get, Government of India, and so on. So there are various authentic websites and you can find out the relative data from that. Now some organizations and agency functioning at the national and the international level can also publish as well as put their various data on the particular website. So there are the various examples. CSO is there, NSSO, WHO, UNO, CMIE, ILO, IMF, World Bank and so on. So by the authentic data is mean data which is published by the recognized research institution after doing comprehensive research. So they have done the research related to that, they have worked on it, and then that relevant data is uploaded. Okay, so you can get it from the authentic website, that is the official website. Okay, that must be, you need that it must be official website only, then only you get the proper data. So these are the various points you will include in this, and these all full form are important, and you can learn this all full form from your last page of your textbook, that is all given to you. Okay, so it can be asked for the 2-3 marks in your board exams also, the various full forms. Now here also the caution in using the internet for the education is there. The first point, that like computer, internet is also a tool that we all know. Now it cannot replace books and teachers or our own thinking and reasoning part. That is also correct. It cannot able to replace our books, that what teachers is explaining, it cannot be replaced. Our thinking, our mind, our thoughts, that cannot be replaced by that. Reasoning is also there, we can say it as that also we can get the various knowledge for the various calculation is there with the help of the various thoughts, our knowledge. So that cannot be done. It cannot replace our minds and thoughts. Then a lot of substandard material, irrelevant information, misleading one, plagiarized articles are found on the internet. Okay, so we have already seen that the same article which is uploaded on the YouTube, that is also copied by the any other, that can be termed as a plagiarized also. So there is a copyright is there, and another person cannot prepare the same thing or cannot upload the same one. Okay, so you must have to find the authentic one. Then the readers must have the wisdom of identifying the authentic material on the internet. So the official website you can get the various information. So these are the points you will include in the course in using the internet for the education purpose. Now the last one you can see, that is the data CD, that is the compact disc. Some authorities like research centers is there, laboratories, government agency involved in the collection and publication of information and data pertaining information. So various this research laboratories are there, research centers are there. They will collecting the various information, and the various types of huge data content are there. So in the they can able to store in the help of the compact discs, we can say, and sell those to the researchers and the educational various institutions, we can say it as. So you can see the various, they sell the data to the whom, then it is written that CD of the National Income Accounts of India, CD of the Census of India, CD of the Annual Survey of Industries in India, CD of NSSO, that is the National Sample Survey Organization, so CD of the CMIE, that is Center for Monitoring Indian Economy. So in that CD there are number of information and data are there. Okay, so it must be provided the sell such data, that is the economic survey, we can say it as. So that can be stored in the data CDs. Now there are certain difficulties also there in using the data CDs. That first one is the data CDs and software contain the huge size of data, thus become complicated to use. Now there are number of data are there in that CD, so sometimes it's quite complicated whenever you are opening the CD. There are several sheets are there, and one must have the knowledge regarding the searching relevant data sheets and get the relevant data sheets. So number of information are there, data are there, and you have to find out that particular one that you want, what you want to need, or what you needed. So that relevant data you have to find out, then it must be with the proper one. Then otherwise if you don't have the knowledge how to open it out, you must have lost all the data from it. So these are the problems arises whenever you are using the CDs. So these are the 2 points you will write in that. So this is our last topic of your chapter number 1, we can say. If there are any doubts, then be free to ask anytime. Okay, till then, have a nice day.